What's scarier, the monster outside your door or the one inside your mind? Welcome to Therapy Sessions, horror from our perspective. We are your hosts, Pam and Dominique, two Black women therapists who live and breathe horror. And every week, we'll dive into the creepiest corners of film and culture through the lens of psychology, identity, and lived experience. From psychological thrillers to haunted houses, from the horror of not being believed to the monsters of the mind. No fear goes unanalyzed. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Therapy
Welcome.
Session. I am your co-host, Dominique.
And I'm Pamela.
And this week, we are going to be tackling episode 6 of Welcome to Derry.
Yes, episode 6 already. 6 out of 8.
Ready. Yep. It just feels like it's flying by really
Yes.
fast. We only got 2 episodes left. A lot of questions were answered in this one,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we jump in,
Spoiler
spoiler alert,
alert. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
go watch it. You will not be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw somebody on social media was just like, I don't understand. I hate it. And I'm like, therapy.
Really?
There's therapy. If you need a referral, we can refer
Right. Like,
you
why? I don't understand
because
how anytime you get a chance to dig deeper and dive deeper in a Stephen King like story, what is there not to love about it?
what do you mean you don't get it? Like, there's just so much. There's so much going on, and it just stays good the entire time.
I think, yeah.
It'll piss you off. Like, there are definitely parts that are pissing me off.
Yeah.
However, it is
Yes.
still good. So we'll go ahead and jump in. There were so many storylines on this one.
Yeah. What
Like,
was the
so
name of this
many.
episode? Let's see, was this because they have some pretty interesting names is it In the Name of the Father? Is that what this one was?
I think so. I
Okay,
think
so
so.
they always have
Yeah.
yeah, and
That's
it
the
makes
name
sense.
of this one.
It makes
Mm-hmm.
complete sense. So In the Name of the Father, reference
So
to
much sense.
Pennywise himself. So we got some history on this one.
And you might as well major handling. There's
Yeah.
a lot of daddy and Hank. A lot of daddy issues
Ah,
happening in this. Can we call this episode daddy issues?
daddy issues is this one. Yes. So it's all about the daddies. Yes. I like that connection.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and so which daddy we gonna start with?
Man, they're all kind of okay. Let's just go ahead and start with handling.
Okay.
Let's go
Okay.
ahead and start
All
with
right.
him. Understandable. His reaction is
Mhm.
understandable,
Mhm.
but also projection.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
can we be clear about that? Because yes, he should, like, you told him not to leave the base,
Yeah.
but a child is going to be a child and they are
Yeah.
going to rebel and kind of do things. And yeah, he's in
Mhm.
the sewer, but like, okay, I've never played in the sewer, but I definitely, when they
Yeah.
unleashed us out into the wild and said, go have fun, don't come back until the streetlights come on and don't come
Listen,
in and out of my house.
that was 80s kids. We used to be like that. So imagine how 60s kids
Yeah.
were. Okay.
Yeah. Like they were just like, hey, come back up for dinner and don't die. Bye.
Listen, you done rode 5 miles on your bike. You
So
okay?
you
Like
probably made it to the next state, came
right.
back, and you were
So
back. So you
just to
gonna be
give
mad at
clar
him for,
just to
I
give
mean,
clarity
playing
on
in the
what
sewers,
we're
yes.
talking about, like, so basically, what we're talking about is Will and his friends from the last episode went into the sewers.
Mhm.
His dad's military, what do you call the military team? The squad, whatever,
Yeah,
Somebody give me the
yeah.
correct term for that in the comments. But they, they all were in the sewers. This is when his father accidentally shot his friend, so
Yep.
Polly. And so they are
Mhm.
now home discussing it. So you have mom, you have Will there, you have dad. And dad
Mhm.
is, I'm kind of torn. And we kind of talked about this. I'm torn on his
Mhm.
reaction because he just had trauma, right? And so
Yeah.
you should never abuse your children in any way. It was definitely uncalled for. The young man was very he was mouthy on
Listen, he slapped that man into, like, next year.
he
I
did.
was like, "Oh,"
He did.
but I mean, let's be honest, he did it because he was telling the truth.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
you can't blame that on me.
Yeah.
That was not my fault. Just because I was in the sewer, that's not my fault. And for real, it's not his fault
Yeah.
because honestly, Pennywise could have showed up as him anyway.
Yes.
Yes, Polly wouldn't have been like, "Oh, I see him," and jumped in front,
Yeah.
but he could have showed up as him anyway. It just
Yeah.
so happens that it was actually him in that sewer, and Polly
Mhm.
tried to stop him, but he was so locked in,
Yes.
and he was in that, like, that zone that it seems like he gets in when he just kinda switches everything off. That was not Mike's fault.
Yes. Yeah. Will.
Will, sorry.
Yes, yes, his
I
son,
said Mike.
his
Yes,
daddy. Yes, Will.
Will.
So, but think about what Will said to his father that got him slapped. The last line was basically, "I would never let my friends die."
Yeah.
Ooh, like I probably would have forgot I was your mama for a minute. It was fresh, like his friend just died. Like it hadn't been
Mhm.
24 hours. Like he just died, saving you. Have a put a little
Right.
respect.
But see, I don't even know if he was just being fresh. He was defending himself because he was coming at him about his behavior and about him being in the sewer. And
Mhm.
you put yourself at risk. You put all these people at risk. You could have died, but like anything could have happened. And he was like, no, like I wouldn't have let my friend die. Like
Yeah,
that was one of those, thinking back on it, he probably been like, ooh, I probably shouldn't have said that. I
yeah,
don't think there was any malice in that statement. Like
yeah.
I
He just
think
missed.
it
Yeah.
mhm, mhm. But yeah, he slapped shit out of him.
There was a lot of emotion in the conversation too, and I don't
Yeah.
think the father understands what the kids have been through.
He doesn't. He only understands what he has experienced, and I
Mhm.
think in his mind because he's not really afraid. Like,
Yeah.
he's afraid for his son and his wife.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
it.
Yeah.
He's currently grieving his friend, but he himself is not afraid or afraid for himself,
Mhm.
and I think that that is getting in the way
Yeah.
because I don't know about you, but if I would have seen my son almost drown,
Yeah.
seen the creepy ass balloons, saw somebody go into somebody's head
Mhm.
and put them into convulsions, and then end up in the sewers and
Yeah.
see some crazy shit, we would have packed up. There would have been no argument. And I shot my friend.
Yeah.
As soon as I got up out that sewer, I'd have been like, you know what?
Period.
Leave of absence. I realized that like going AWOL is serious.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
AWOL for my family,
Yeah.
Canada's right there.
Yeah, they are
Gone.
right there.
Out of Derry so damn fast, but he's still there and he's
But
still like fighting for this thing. And it doesn't make sense to me.
why is it not an option for Will to bring his friends with them on the base? I just wanna know that. Like, why is that not the option? Like, "Hey, my friend's in trouble. Can they at least come here since we're out of harm's way here?"
Child, because that would not make a good storyline.
Movies would be 5 minutes because I done
Right?
came up with a
They'd be so
solution and we done.
bad.
Like, "Hey, just hang out here, then the clown
They would
can't
have
get
been
us." Like, he gonna disappear in another year anyway, we good.
right.
You know?
Our family stay on base because
We
he's
just
coming
wait it
after
out. Just
us.
wait it out.
Yeah, yeah.
But so yeah, so that's pretty much that was the wrap up for their family at the end of all that
No,
altercation, the mom.
yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yep. Mama said, "Not my baby."
Mhm. Yeah, mom
She's
was
doing
done.
exactly what I just said, like, he should have done.
But she's playing dangerous on another like, so let's
She
say that
is.
Pennywise is like the dream or because she hadn't seen Pennywise really yet either. So in her mind,
Mm-mm.
she's protecting him from this entity that not sure of. However, she's still playing with a realistic situation.
Mhm.
He is literally about to harbor a fugitive out of a
Yes.
town, like in the six.
And can we talk about how she's being played?
Mhm, mhm.
She's being set up.
She
She
is.
she got set up. She got set up, y'all.
She did.
That was a straight up setup because ooh, oh my gosh, it is just like this episode just did so much for me because I'm like,
Mhm.
they set her up
Yeah.
to hide this man.
Mhm.
And so if y'all don't remember, he's hiding in the black spot.
Mhm.
They set her up to hide that man in the black spot.
Yep. To make
I
that
guarantee
that big event. That big
make
event
the
we've been waiting for.
big event, make the big event. I was like, "Why? Why do we always get used
Yes.
to, like, create some shit?" Like,
Yeah.
why? But,
Yeah.
yeah, so she definitely got set up, and that was, I think her response was appropriate. I know that you said that you feel like she's doing too much, but I
Yeah.
think in that moment, he wasn't doing enough,
Mhm.
and she said, I'm afraid and Imma protect me and mine, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you meet us there. We going home,
Mhm.
you can meet us there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so speaking of the setup,
Mhm. Yeah.
Mrs. Kirsch is what's a nice way to put this? A couple sandwiches short of a picnic?
Yeah. 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 Just a few. Just a few. Yeah.
Wow. Like,
She is
yeah.
periwinkle. So we could call her periwinkle for this, because she is her dad's sidekick. But
Mhm.
and I don't. What I would like to know is why Pennywise didn't just kill her. Like, what was the conversation? Was that really her father breaking
'Cause I think
through?
I think it's still her daddy. I
Okay.
think I think that is still her daddy.
Mhm. Mhm.
I obviously I want the backstory on
Yes.
how he chose him, like what he
Mhm.
did, if he sacrificed something, but that's still her dad.
It's
And
still
we
her.
know that's still her dad based on that one scene where he comes as his face and
Mhm.
she, opens the door and I mean she's still here. So I truly believe that is her dad.
Mhm.
But she has been like, how do you go from afraid
Mhm.
and trying to protect this child to, "You know what? Let me set up every other kid."
You know what? I think to your point, it's her dad, right? And I'm a horror movie person, so my father passed a few years back, and when I before he passed, I used to see movies like a zombies when it'd be like a relative come and they'd be like, "Oh no," and they get eaten up. I used to be like, "You're so stupid, you're so dumb," and I now realize I would get eaten up. Okay, like let my daddy be Pennywise. I'm like, "Daddy, boom, gone, gone." So it's like an emotional attachment where you want to believe that that is still your person. And so
Yeah.
even after, first of all, I was mad that the little girl got toe up because
Mhm,
I want to know, how
mhm.
does she keep her job at Juniper while kids are going missing? That she is literally hand delivering them.
Hand delivering. And where are
Yeah,
these parents?
where
Where are
are these
these
parents?
parents
Yeah,
not, like, flipping out? How is Juniper Hill still open?
yeah.
My baby went in there to get some help, and she never
Mhm.
came out?
I mean, and she's gone.
Like,
Like he ate her up, literally.
gone.
Yeah,
Like, how is this even allowed to how are you still operating
yeah,
at this
yeah.
point?
And I don't feel like they gave us a ending story on Pennywise himself, the actual man, not it, but the man, because they just
Yeah,
said something happened and then he was
that's
gone.
what I'm saying. That's what I need to know. Like,
What's the
I
something?
need to know. Like, I think he traded himself for something.
Okay.
I'm sure it by no means is circus-like glamorous,
Yes, yeah.
and let's not act like that man was attractive,
Yeah, yeah.
'cause he wasn't.
Was he another a Freddy? 'Cause Freddy Krueger was the whole killing or
Mm,
molesting
mm,
children. Like, what was going on,
mhm,
Penny? What was you doing?
mhm, because why okay, yep, this is why I think that it's him. Like, this is
Uh-huh.
why I think it's the dad, and I bet you that's what the issue is because before that, we didn't hear anything about Pennywise coming for children.
Yeah, that's a
Like,
good point.
it was actual
Whoever
adults like, whoever, as far as we knew, and now he's coming for
for the
children.
children. That's a good point.
So, but yeah,
Yeah, they
so
need to tell us that.
so for her to when it became very clear that that was
Mhm,
his daughter, I was
mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh." And then Lily, poor sweet, naive, just
Yeah,
Lily gets on my
yeah,
goddamn nerves.
yes,
Girl,
Lily's
you
doing a
see
lot.
that? Out
Yeah,
of the house
yeah,
immediately.
mhm,
Gone.
and
You
good
sitting there
kudos
asking
to her for
questions?
running. Kudo
Yeah.
here go I don't know how schools
You
were in
asking
the
too many
'60s,
questions.
but she had that whole little dagger thing at school. How'd that work? Like, she had it
And
in
then get
class
in
with her.
trouble, sitting
It
on her
was
desk.
a weapon,
Sitting on her desk.
it clearly was sharp because she stabbed Mrs. Kirsch or, Periwinkle
Mhm.
with it, so it's sharp. It's a weapon.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we could do that in the '60s? Whatever. What do I know?
I guess so. I
Yeah.
guess so. And she still didn't get sent back to Juniper Hill. I was like, "Oh, this heifer going back to Juniper Hill,"
Mhm,
because of that
mhm.
outburst. Like,
Yes.
and they were just like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Okay." And then she
Yes,
got to leave with it?
yes.
It wasn't confiscated. She didn't go to
Nothing.
detention. She didn't have to meet with
I
nobody.
just need to know where
Like,
her mama at because I haven't seen
I
her mama in a couple
ain't s
episodes. It's just
ain't seen her in a minute. I wonder if they're just like if she's just a quote unquote crazy girl at school and they're
yeah,
just like, let
they
her
just
be
yeah,
as long
yeah,
as yeah. I think that's what it is.
yeah.
But yeah, to know that to find out for certain that
Yes,
she was Pennywise's daughter and that she is the clown that everybody's been
yes,
seeing.
yep,
That's
in
why
the
it looks
picture.
so different
Yes.
than what he actually looks like because she still has her dad's original costume.
Yeah, yeah.
She's the
And the
picture, she's the
thing
lurker outside, she's
yes.
the all of the like
And she's trying to have an engagement with him. That's why she's doing it. So it's not like she's doing
yeah,
anything to the kids. She just wants to see her dad. And I think there is
but she
a
knows what comes with it.
yes. Yeah. I think she knows the recipe that heightens the chances of him showing up. She knows what type
Mhm,
of kid, she knows what where, and so she shows up in these places where it's like, okay, he might show up here. This is his type over
mhm.
here. And so I think that's interesting. So I would like to know more about one, has she been waiting for 27 years for him to pop back up? And does she know that there's a routine? So those are the questions I would have in general.
Yeah, yeah. Those are great questions,
Mhm,
for
and how did
sure.
she not age from, 1930 to 1960? But, whatever.
Mm, I thought so when it first started, when the show first started and they had that scene,
Mhm,
I was like, "Oh, I wonder if this is her as a little girl and she actually was in Juniper Hill." Like, I had
mhm,
no I didn't even put that together that that
yeah.
was her as
Mhm,
the nurse
mhm,
in the first scene because it kinda looked like her, but not really, and then when he did,
mhm.
I was like, "Hold on, that don't look enough like her
Yeah,
for it to be her," and it was her.
it's her. Yep, she is the adult because you think about it, 1908, she was the little girl.
Yeah.
So she was the little girl clown in 1908, but in 1930, whatever, she was the nurse, and is still the
Mhm.
nurse. So she been there, like, she aged beautifully from the '30s to the '60s, but, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's definitely I think she knows that a big destructive event is really gonna bring him out, and
You
so
think that
yeah.
you think she knows that for sure? Or do you think that I don't know if she actually knows that. I
Mhm.
think she's just using these kids to see him again.
Well, I'm pretty something happened in the '30s, that was the shooting, right? So that big event, I
Yeah.
believe, brought him out, and so maybe she's thinking that it's that destruction or chaos brings him out.
I okay, I think I might be confused because I thought that the big culminating event was like his curtain call and then he was gone.
Yes, I think it is, but I think it's like that grand finale for whatever
Mhm.
reason, because it doesn't seem like a lot of adults see him without
Right.
children involved, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
she's trying to bring him out maybe with the big curtain
Okay.
call, that grand finale, it's like it was in the '30s, because
Mm.
after that grand
Mhm.
finale, she didn't see him for
Mhm.
20 some years probably.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
maybe she is urging that because I mean, and somebody
Fear and so I guess fear and violence,
yes, that's what I'm thinking. Yes.
like, from others, and I know we had talked about fear being, like, a nice little snack, nice little meal,
Yes.
somebody just
Yeah.
engrossed in fear, but now we're looking at it being connected
Mhm.
to violence.
Yes.
Um, hmm,
And,
okay.
and while we're talking about Miss Kirsch or Periwinkle, just kinda bringing in Hank a little bit, where
Mhm.
I see people posting, like, so this was worth like, not telling on her was worth going to, the jail, Shawshank. But I was like, either way, he's a goner.
The man was in danger.
Either way, if he say, "No, I really was with so and so's wife, this white lady," you're still a goner.
I feel and I now believe that she set him up.
Yes, agreed. I
Like,
think it was all a part of the plan.
she found based on whatever the issue or point of contention or like division for
Mhm.
that for whatever period of time it is, I think that's what the setup is. I think that might be the culminating event. Like that is the setup. And so she came
Yeah.
in using this black man, knowing that it was going to lead to something like this potentially.
Yeah. You know, at the during the first or second episode, we had a conversation about how we thought the adults were setting up or sacrificing the children.
Mhm. But
What
it's
if
her.
she's that? What if even starting from the movie theater? Because the fact that you got this guy working at the movie theater and the that major episode at the movie theater at the time that you were with him,
Mhm.
that sounds like a
Mhm.
pretty crazy sacrifice slash setup right there.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it really it computes because she's around through all of the shows and the movies and all the way to the end. So she
She
could be the lead, the
she's
ringmaster of
the
it all.
she absolutely is.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
absolutely is.
yeah,
All
yeah.
because she wants to see her dad. If y'all don't let the dead die
Listen,
and lie,
listen,
like,
listen.
leave the dead alone.
Therapy is the key to help your daddy issues. It's
Therapy.
therapy. So Hank. So let's talk about one thing that made me upset towards let me last name Will's mother.
Mhm.
I taking the kids in harm way. I don't know how I feel about it. And I
Mm-mm.
say harm's way because I understand Ronnie wants to see her dad and she's stressed out
Mm.
about it. But is it really smart that all the kids know where the dad is?
Girl, no. No. No, I told you there was stuff in this episode that pissed me off because let's be honest, okay?
Mhm.
There are people who don't know how to keep secrets.
Yes. Like,
Some
y'all even told
people's
Marge? Like, what?
some people's backgrounds
Mhm.
and upbringings and
Mhm.
experiences, life experiences, ancestral experiences
Mhm.
don't really add up to proper
Yes.
secret keeping. If you're
Kohlberg's
picking
moral
up what
development.
I'm putting down,
Yes.
why?
Yeah.
Why? Why? Why
Yeah.
would you involve everybody?
Yeah.
Because I just knew, and I mean, we were wrong.
Mhm.
I mean, I was wrong
Mhm.
because in my mind, I said, "Oh my god, Arch and this little boy
Mhm.
are about to say something out loud because they were talking about it out loud." I said, "Somebody about to overhear, and they
Yeah.
gonna tell the police, and they gonna go looking for them, and it's gonna be some mess, and like the kids are gonna be like it was just this
Yeah.
is about to be some mess." And I thought it was the kids, but it wasn't them.
Now, granted, these kids still shouldn't have been in the black spot drinking.
The the Air Force
But can we
Coke.
say that was the most unrealistic part, even though it was super cute. It was cute, especially when, he played the drums. I thought that was a cute little addition there,
Yeah.
like, they just changed his whole life letting him play the drums.
Who called him
Um,
Ricky Ricardo?
I think it was the Patties call him that. The Patties called him Ricky Ricardo, and kudos for Mars for standing up to the Patties.
Yeah, like, I wondered, like, I was sitting there side-eyeing Marge that whole time, and that's when
Mhm.
I thought that she was gonna sell them out. Like,
No.
that's when I thought that she was gonna tell and all the thing. No, Marge said, "I am a freak, and here go my eye."
Yep. Yep, look at my eye, and she said, "'Cause I got a whole boyfriend now, okay? So I'm
Okay?
good, okay? I don't need the patties." But
Don't
that
need
whole
y'all.
scene only thing I was thinking during the scene at the, black spot with these children there is how comfortable and safe other cultures and their children feel with Black people
Right.
throughout time, throughout the US history. They like, it's
Mhm.
even now, like, people would tell you, if you get lost in the mall and, like, this is for white children, immigrant children, like, if you feel unsafe, find a Black person, find a Black woman. It's like
Find a black mom with
it's
children.
that
Yep.
thing, yes. And so I feel like
Because
that
we're
was
I mean,
it.
there's compassion, nurturing, understanding there
Mhm.
that we wish others would have for us that we give like, we're just
Yes.
welcoming. And
Yeah.
so I think it's hilarious that they didn't bat a damn eye that children were in there once the
Mhm.
party started.
Yes.
So I do appreciate another juke joint.
Yes.
I need somebody out there to start a juke joint so
Yeah.
that I can go to because the current club scene is trash.
Mhm.
I don't wanna go to the club and just sit in the section and watch other people sit in the section. and
But
drink
if
at a
you
club.
look, if you don't if you do a
I'm trying to
juke
go
joint,
sweat
you
through my
have to
clothes.
confiscate phones before.
Have to confiscate, no phones allowed.
No phones allowed. That
Locked
would be the
box,
key. Yes.
locked box. I'm trying to sweat through my clothes. I'm trying to, get an old head,
Mhm,
cocktail,
mhm,
where it's like 75% liquor
mhm,
and
mhm.
about 25%
And not worry
mix.
about your whole dance routine being caught on video.
Not not
Yeah,
going like, letting loose, enjoying life, like,
yeah,
that is what I need, so if somebody does it, let us know,
yeah, they showed you in
please.
Sinners, they done showed you in Color Purple, now they showing you in Derry how to do a juke joint.
But,
It's a very simple all you need is a shed. That's all you need. Yeah.
that's all you need.
Mhm. No phones allowed, that's always the rule. And, it's
Yeah.
really interesting how they had this whole separate little room in the back where Ronnie and her dad are hanging out. And I don't like how they trying to pressure Ronnie into going back in the sewers. Because why would she go? Why?
Where are you going?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, don't they know by now? Because if Will didn't tell them, why didn't he tell them? Like,
Mhm.
there's a
Mhm.
border, and if we're outside of it, we're
Yeah.
fine.
Uh-huh.
Like, why is that conversation not happened yet? Because as a
Yeah.
kid, cool, we
Yeah.
gonna sit outside we're gonna run away,
Uh-huh.
tell our parents, "We gotta get up out of here, get us up out of here." But
Yeah.
you're trying to get her to go back into the sewers for
Like,
what?
why? Yeah.
Also, that room, did it have a window? I don't
Mm-mm.
think it did. And
Mm-mm.
so
I don't Hank and
that
Ronnie not gonna
leads
make it. They're not making it.
that leads into
Yeah.
the lead up to the culminating event. Actually, no, before we go there, we gotta talk about Dick. And we
Yeah.
gotta talk about that altercation between him and Hanlon
Mhm. Yo, he won't clear it.
because
He didn't care.
he did not care.
Mhm.
Didn't
Yeah.
care a bit. He was drunk as a skunk, and he was just like, "I don't care who you are."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he meant that. Like, I'm not doing this and neither should you.
Yeah.
Like, get
I don't
out.
I think I don't think he truly understands, like, Hamlin is seeing dead people, like, actively. Like,
Right.
he is he is going through it, and so to ask him to continue using this gift and he's like, "Well, what happens when this is all over and I can't put everything back?" And no one cares, and so I don't understand why well, the thing is this, they're not trying to save the day, the military. They're trying to capture and
They're
utilize.
trying to create a new weapon.
And that's the problems. It would be more heroic if they were like, "Hey, we're trying to isolate this. Maybe we can just shut down, treat it like one of those nuclear places, or play. What's the
Mhm.
Chernobyl? Treat it like that.
Chernobyl.
Yes, treat it
Mhm.
like that. Put a gate around it. No one go in here. It's toxic, right?
Right.
But no, they want to capture and control
And utilize.
and
Like,
utilize.
that is yeah.
And we
So,
know it didn't. We know it clearly.
it did not. However, I do think I would love to see what helped him get better control of it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for sure,
That
because
would
he
be
did.
interesting.
Yeah.
See, what you just said right there that's called a spinoff. That's what I
A
heard. A
spin-off.
spinoff, 'cause we gotta know what
Yeah.
happened to Hanlon from the '60s to the '80s, 'cause The Shining is the '80s, and so, like, what happened?
Mhm.
So that would be interesting to know, 'cause he was a good, sweet, old, humble old man, so what happened from now
Mhm.
until then? So that would be interesting to see, and we know the next seasons of Welcome to Derry go back in time,
Mhm.
so we won't
And
see
we know
more
that he
past this.
but we do know that he knows about it.
Yes.
And so we might get a little bit of earlier him
Mhm,
possibly,
mhm.
but who knows? But
Yeah,
okay, back to what essentially is the culminating event, which
yes.
is fascinating because we still got 2 episodes left.
Mhm.
And so I'm kind of wondering, is this the event or is this not the event? Because
Hmm.
we still got 2 episodes left.
I think it's still I think you know what's I think what they're gonna do, I think they're gonna do another flashback.
Okay.
I think because we're gonna see some type of flashback. We've been to 1908, we've been to 1930 something, we've been all the way back thousands of years
Mhm.
ago, and so I feel like they're gonna take us somewhere again,
Okay.
to see
Okay.
something maybe even the introduction of Black people into the society, because we really didn't see that. It just like they just appeared in the '60s or something. But in these
Mhm.
flashbacks, you see Native Americans, you see the white population, you don't see a lot of the
You don't see
African
any black folks
Americans.
in 1908, yeah,
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
only really focused on the the little circus ground area.
Yeah.
But yes, so what is looking like it's going to be the lead up of the culminating event, the
Yeah.
apex of it all, is that the assistant sheriff right? The assistant or whatever
But
it's
he no
called,
longer I think
deputy
he was
deputy
relieved.
sheriff, who is no longer the deputy
Mhm.
sheriff, comes into the
Gowers.
space with these angry mob-like people,
Mhm.
like, yeah, so as in my previous position, I could not do this. However, since I believed in my duties, I got some info.
Yep.
And then he coming through talking about a lady
Her.
reported a spotting. And after that, I was like, that bitch, that is
Yep.
Kirsch.
That's her.
She's the lady. She is setting this up. I will bet money on it is her.
Yep.
Because I was worried that somebody followed the kids.
Mhm.
But when he said a lady, I said, oh, that's her.
She
And
dropped him off. She know exactly where he's at.
so they all, the angry mob of white men pull up in their trucks and their cars and all the stuff to the black spot, just secluded,
Mhm.
away from the base,
Yep.
basically in the middle of nowhere, no
Yep.
protection of
One
any
way in, one
kind.
way out.
And they got their lights on and they hop out the cars with masks on.
Mhm.
I'm like, y'all might as well have your hoods on.
Yeah.
What's the mask?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the mask? Just go
100%.
ahead and put a hood on.
Yeah.
We know what it is. Just put the damn hood on.
And I mean, from the movies, we already know what happens with the black spot. We know that according to the movies, it gets burned to the ground. So the question
Mhm.
is who's in there when it gets burned to the ground?
Mhm.
Now
Mhm.
we know who we don't see no more in the movies. So
Mhm.
the people who are up for grabs right now is basically Hank and Ronnie and
Mhm.
Maud and
Mhm.
her boyfriend. Like all of them are up for grabs because we don't see or hear anything else about them in the movies or miniseries. The safe people is really cause we don't even know if Will's mom is safe, but we know
We don't
Will
know.
and
We know
his
Will is
grandfather
safe.
are safe. So yeah, that's where
Yep.
we at. Everybody's up for grabs. I think Lily's gonna
And
go.
Dick, that's who
Mhm,
we know Dick
mhm,
is safe, but
yep,
that's
mhm, that's it, that's it. So I'm waiting to see the next one. I'm ready.
mhm.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Did we miss anything? I feel like we covered everything pretty good.
I think we got everything. It's gonna be something. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, can it be Sunday?
Yeah.
Can it be
Yes.
Sunday, please, so we
So
can see
impatient. You
this?
would think we weren't born in the 1900s. Like, we're so impatient.
Where we had to wait.
We had to wait. We didn't have a choice.
And if
But
you missed it, you missed it.
now Imma tell you one thing I learned this past Sunday is I'm not gonna watch it on Sunday because it comes on way too late and I'm old. Imma start watching it on Monday because I'm, like, dozing off. I'm like, "Oh, I'm ready to go to
Says I'm
sleep."
old.
I'm old. Imma start watching it earlier on Mondays. Throwing that out there, but yes,
That's a good point.
yes,
That's a good point. It is some of us are that
ye
can appreciate it
yes,
are slightly long in the tooth.
that's right. We need
So we
we
got
need to get some sleep.
bedtimes.
Yes, yes. So, Dominic, can you tell our audience where they can listen to all of our amazing episodes at?
Yes, so you can like, subscribe, and watch on YouTube. You can subscribe and like and listen on Spotify, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, all at Therapy Sessions.
Yes. So, if we left something out, go ahead and put it in the comments because I'm sure we left something out. So,
We'd love to hear what y'all thought about this
please,
episode
yeah.
too and what we said for real.
Yeah, if you have any theory or conspiracy theories that we haven't thought of, throw them in there. We can make sure it's a part of the next episode. But thank you for joining us. And until next
Yes.
time.
We'll see you next session. Bye.